Rosselli Northern supports upstate New York construction with over 400 employees, 250 trucks, 9 ready-mix plants, 4 blacktop plants, and 40 aggregate mines. But their most important number is your bottom line. Contact them today to see why Rosselli Northern has been the choice for contractors and project managers across upstate New York since 1929.
All right, everybody, happy Wednesday. Welcome into Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice. I am Paul Russo. Next to me, as always, man, myth, legend himself, Nick Felice. We got more football. I know everybody's stunned by that, but
The season goes on.
yeah, the season rolls on.
Today is.
We got a little NBA talk about too again. So
But today is the final Skeens day of the year.
oh, sure.
Skeens is on the bump for a chance at a Cy Young today.
We've had a lot of interesting terms early on here, so to pull the curtain back for a quick second, pre-show, we talked about the hypothetical of game day, it just showing up at any one of the local schools for whatever reason. It has to do with the college football game this weekend in question, but the hypothetical, and yeah, now I'm imagining Paul Skeens and Livy Dunn as the guest pickers.
It would be
Just randomly, like.
it would be great to say. We mentioned earlier it was the Independence Championship. That should be a thing. But maybe if Syracuse UConn got moved to, a local school around here, pretty cool.
I
It
mean,
would sell out in 2 seconds.
that's probably true. I don't know. Okay, before we get going, thank a couple more of our sponsors, Rosselli Northern at the top there. Also want to thank Blush by CV Designs, a local woman-owned business in the heart of the Finger Lakes offering women's clothing and accessories, quality, home goods, and unique gifts. See what everyone's talking about by visiting their location downtown Seneca Falls or browse all of their products online at shopcvdesigns.com. I know Christine's already got the Christmas stuff rolling out, so make sure you stop in or go online and check that out. And also, Dewey's Tavern within walking distance from downtown Seneca Falls, just across the Bridge Street Bridge. Can play quick draw, lottery, and 19 televisions for all your sporting event needs. Great food for lunch or dinner. Bocce, dart, and pool leagues. Check them out online at deweysthirdward.com. I had lunch from Dewey's over the weekend, so spot on stuff.
Third ward's a good ward.
It's an all right ward.
What are we?
Fourth. We live in the fourth.
Fourth ward.
The old fourth ward.
But we don't have the same power lines.
It's true. Different grids. Let's get into this. I feel like the big storyline in the NFL this week, and justifiably so, right? Kansas City finally falls. Buffalo gets them. It's weird that the further I get away from the game, the more I think I'm taking a much more balanced approach to it. Now, that being said, I still feel like this was a very important game in this era of Bills football that needed to be done, especially given what we kind of thought this year might be for them, and it's clearly not. It's clearly a way better year for them than I think a lot of people kind of thought. And the fact of the matter is, right, this Kansas City team, for as good as they've been, right, they continue winning, and that's kind of the key part. I mean, you said it last week yourself, right, Nick? They just kind of keep finding ways to win. They finally found a way to lose. And frankly, again, they didn't look great doing it in that sense. Now, look, a game is a game. Buffalo this week, they're on their bye. Kansas City they're at Carolina this week, so bounce back. But it's just an interesting thing, right? And I view it as probably the more important element of this, right? Is I don't see Kansas City losing this week by any means, but look, say Kansas City does lose one more game, Buffalo wins out, same record, right? Buffalo has a tiebreaker. Now they're also within a game of the standings and everything like that. It was a pretty, and that's why I think it carries all this weight, right, of it being such a big game in the eyes of a lot of people.
Yeah, not really taking much away from on the Bills side of things because they've beaten them in the regular season. I think four times now.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's nice. They're right there in the hunt for the 1 seed now, which is huge. But it don't mean anything that you're better than Kansas City. You got to do it in the playoffs. That's the same with Baltimore. The one thing I will say from Buffalo on Sunday is that Josh Allen is the front runner for MVP now over Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson and, granted, Steelers, I think, have the best defense in the league. I think T.J. Watt is probably the best player.
Really?
Not just on defense, but maybe in the whole league. He's that good. And they struggled against the Steelers, against a good defense. I don't know what Josh Allen would have done. I don't think they played the Steelers yet. I don't know if they do, but...
No, they do not. I think they were a preseason game this year.
But, I don't know how Josh Allen would have done in that game, but I think he jumps them just by the teams they played and how well he's done with, the loss of Stephon Diggs, who I personally don't think is a big loss, but, they've overcome that and picked up a big win, and I think this is actually a good thing for Kansas City. Go undefeated with a team that really hasn't really looked great at all, and the fact that they can move and learn from this loss is scary because now they know that they're not unstoppable, and they're going to improve off of this, and Carolina's a great team to bounce back against. Carolina's been hot. They have not lost in a few weeks, but it'll be that's the perfect team you want to play, though, to bounce back from a game like this. It was in Buffalo, tough environment. They wanted it more. The Dolphins celebrate. Was it 7-2 Dolphins?
Yeah.
Yeah, they get to celebrate.
A few of them left still, unfortunately, in that sense.
This has been one of the longer waits they've had to wait, but...
Not really, though. A lot of teams get to this time of year undefeated still. Just so happened that Kansas City was the only undefeated left after, week 3 or 4 this year, so... Yeah.
It's a good win, but it don't mean anything.
Well, interesting.
Yeah.
Right, still on different viewpoints of this one a little bit, so... let's stick with this New York vibe, even though there's only one true New York team in that sense.
And that is?
The Bills.
Oh, yeah, the Bills.
Because they're the only ones in New York.
Is it really only
But
any New Jersey teams?
Well, we'll get to those two right now.
Did the Giants come back from Germany?
They did. We can't confirm, but did Daniel Jones? And that answer is he did, but not with the starting job. Tommy DeVito gets to be QB1. Drew Lock remains QB2, so Jones will slide into the inactive quarterback 3 role. And the way it sounds, there's a lot of coaching for their live type stuff with this staff overall at this point. Got a lot of, it's interesting. Apparently we have some unnamed players from the Giants kind of step up for Daniel Jones and kind of say, this is frankly crap at this point, what's happening with him. It's interesting. Me and you have been Daniel Jones apologists. It's tough. I don't think that it's, a bad idea to make a change at this point. I find it interesting that it's DeVito being QB1. Does that change anything going into this weekend? For me personally, yeah, in all honesty, a little bit in terms of actual this kind of head-to-head stuff. But, if they were going to do this change, I don't know why they just didn't pull the trigger sooner. That to me is the rough part here. That being said, it's very apparent at least they're not the ones with the most, dysfunction going on in East Rutherford right now.
Yeah, I think the Giants are still the better team.
But probably, yeah, in that sense, for sure. And, it's just tough, right? I mean, Jones will probably go find himself somewhere next year in a better situation. Probably not starting, but you never know. It sucks for him. It sucks for clearly the team, right? Because it's very apparent that the team didn't think this was the right way to go about it and right time to go about it. They go into this game now this weekend against Tampa Bay. Probably shouldn't be winning it, but do we have another interim head coach next week when we're sitting here in New York? I kind of think possibly as it stands right now, but we'll see.
Here's something you'll never hear out of my mouth.
Oh,
I'm going to use the Cowboys as an example in a good way.
okay.
In this sport, the NFL, it's only once every week you play a game. This sport is so impatient. I can't stand it.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jones had a serious injury that cost him his whole season last year. And he comes back, what's it been, 10 weeks, 11 weeks, 10 games?
Mm-hmm.
And you're judging him off of that? I hope the DeVito thing, I know who DeVito is. I saw him at Syracuse. This is a way of tanking but not tanking, in my opinion. They're trying to get a top pick. Now, the season's over. Throw him out there. He's not that special. His agent seems pretty serious, so I wouldn't mess with him. But here's where I'm going to use the example of the Cowboys. Jerry Jones is a very patient owner. He lets his coaches go for a long period of time, and he takes time to sign players as well, longer than the media would hope for. And, yeah, I think this is just a very impatient move. I think it came too soon to move Daniel Jones. He's just been back. And people get so distracted by that playoff berth, and they think Saquon was the reason we made the playoffs, and they think Saquon's the reason we're not good this year, when Tyrone Tracy's having a phenomenal rookie season. Forget Saquon. He's on the team. We're nowhere better. Maybe a game. That's not the problem. The running back position has not been the problem this year. It has been, losing Andrew Thomas for the season, the offensive line, the defense has been very inconsistent. And, yes, Daniel Jones has not played great. He hasn't played. He's going to go somewhere and he's going to be a decent backup. I think that's what he is. He's a really good backup to have, something the Dolphins should consider. I think maybe he can go there because they need a backup, especially when you got a guy like Tua as your quarterback. Can go down at any minute. But there's no reason he can't be like a Sam Darnold one year, come on and redeem his career like how Darnold has done this year. So it's unfortunate. Definitely seems like they're hitting the reset button. And I don't know. The coach and the GM, Shane, and Dable, I think they'll be there for the rest of the year.
Do you think, as a Giant fan, do you think at this point though that the blow up's coming?
I think so.
Whether it's okay.
Yeah, I think we're getting a whole new, I guess you'd call it a battery. A whole new head coach, GM, quarterback. It's all going to happen next year. It's going to be a new look Giants. We got some pieces on this team. We got Neighbors. We got Tracy. We got, Dexter Lawrence. We got some good players on this team. Just need to fix the people that are running the show,
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, let's stay in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Joe Douglas out as GM for the Jets. It appears as if, and this is where I kind of chuckle at people who don't like Mina Kimes, because it's very clearly one specific reason why, as I call it. But she is right. Not that this doesn't make sense, right? But if you're the Jets, as it stands right now, why wouldn't you wait until the offseason to do it? Because it's not like you can legally interview candidates anyway right now. It just shows that the true dysfunction of what this team is.
Yeah.
And it's pretty interesting because Rodgers apparently liked Douglas and liked the interim head coach. Now it looks like, and there's other stuff at play here too. Woody Johnson might be having to relinquish the day-to-day control side of things here, depending upon what happens politically speaking with him. How this offseason kind of goes for the Jets now. But, I mean, and again, talk about player reports. One comes out yesterday, too, in regards to the Jets, how it's like the players are just ready for the season to be over. Yeah. And, I get that. Well, I've been on far more losing teams in my life than winning, and I understand it, but, I don't think I've ever said it out loud that I'm, really want a season to just be over. Yeah. And the crazy part is, they aren't necessarily out of it yet, technically, but, it's just crazy the amount of talent that they have there still, even without, say, Aaron Rodgers in this sense, even though he's been horrible obviously, now for a couple of years. I mean,
That's one of those situations where they're only a couple
Crazy.
games out.
Yeah.
You have to win games to gain games.
Yeah.
And they're not winning many games. The story's a little confusing. They said they fired the GM, but yet the GM is still there.
it's confusing.
Rodgers is still there.
Oh, you're talking. Yeah.
Isn't he the GM?
Well,
But yeah, just another. I mean, they've run out of options to fix this team. They're like, let's see if this one works. Yeah, let's get rid of the kicker next week, and let's see if that works. Nothing's working there. Nothing has ever worked there for the last decade plus. You have a 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles injury. Forget who it is. That's not a good fit.
yeah.
It's not going to make your team better. And they've done everything for that guy. And this is just all his buddies. It's been his buddies. Even last year with Randall Cobb and we got Lazard. Now he's back. It's all his buddies. His buddies that he didn't win a championship for majority of those years in Green Bay. So, yeah, they're a mess. It's crazy. The Giants are actually in a better spot than they are. They are like, at least the Giants have some, okay, they have some pieces. Breece Hall's good. Garrett Wilson's good. So they're similar, but that's going to need a whole blow up. That's like a situation where you might need to trade Garrett Wilson or Breece Hall to get some assets to start over.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in a bad spot.
Yeah. And I mean, where do you go with, say, Devontae Adams, right? Because it's shown now at this point, like, if he doesn't have one of his guys, right, at quarterback, like, he wants out anyway.
Yep.
It's.
Imagine that he went to Oakland to play with Derek Carr, and then they get rid
Las
of him.
Vegas, but okay.
And then he goes to
The Jets.
to play with Rodgers,
Right.
and then you get rid of him.
Yeah. I don't know. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. A couple other things. Dallas still incredibly bad. Happy to see nobody was hurt by the falling ceiling. The one video, I didn't realize upon first viewing that apparently some guy was actually that close to getting drilled by the panel, but good to see you got out of there. Geno Smith decided to turn back the clock to his days in West Virginia as a college quarterback and win the game. The Bears decided to pull a bear, and my God. And then, as I call it, the game that nobody knew existed, Minnesota and Tennessee, happened this week. So a lot of other stuff we didn't
And
quite
Mike
get
Tyson
to.
lost.
Well, yeah.
What a weird week.
Yeah, I was talking more football sense there. You want to get to our picks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sun's in my eyes. Sorry.
Sun's in your eye. From what?
AT&T Stadium.
Oh,
Come on, get my joke. You gotta catch on to him.
it's on me. Nick, you did not have a good week last week.
I haven't had a good season.
Yeah, it hasn't been great for you.
Can't get these picks, man.
You went 6-8, taking your overall record now to 91-75.
It's-
I went 10-4.
Wow.
103-63 now on the year.
12-game lead.
12-game lead.
Oh, yeah, it's almost like it's over by the end of the season.
Might be. I might have to give myself an extra bonus point here if I win the regular season and go into our playoff one. So,
Change it for right now.
well, speaking of right now, the most buys we've had in a single week so far this season. We got 6 on the bye
There's
this
no
week.
buys next week, and I think the last week's 14.
Yeah, something like that. Atlanta, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, New Orleans, and the Jets on the bye this week.
No Jets this week.
No Jets this week. Somebody's Thanksgiving is going to be ruined. Thursday night this week, Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Cleveland is a 4-point underdog at home.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I was actually kind of torn on this one, but you got to think with your head on this.
See my guy Skeens at the Steelers game?
Saw him a lot this week. Seen Livy a lot this week.
Yeah, I haven't really seen Paul much.
Yeah.
Seen Livy.
Let's get to the 1 p.m. window on Sunday. This is the second biggest spread of the weekend. Dallas at Washington.
Wow.
Washington 10-point favorites.
When's the last time they were 10-point favorites against Dallas?
Before I was born, probably.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Cooper Rush looked pretty bad.
I don't know how much. I mean, I don't disagree, but I don't know how much of it's his fault at this point.
I'm thinking Washington.
As you should. Washington as well for me. I mean, come on.
Record-setting Washington picks this year.
Come on. All right. Minnesota at Chicago. Chicago 3.5-point underdogs.
Chicago's not going to win again, so Minnesota.
Is it weird that part of me did want to take Chicago here, though?
Very weird.
Look, they hung on with Green Bay. In fact, they had that game won, more or less. And Minnesota didn't do much against Tennessee.
Chicago's had a lot of games they could have won.
Yeah.
But they blow it. So
That's a good
why
point.
wouldn't they blow it again?
Look, I'm not saying I don't doubt. You know, I'm just saying it's like they're weird pit in my stomach. You know,
Soldier Field.
keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on is what I'm saying. Detroit at Indianapolis. The Colts touchdown underdogs at home against the Lions.
Lions.
You know, Indy's coming off a big road win. They were up early, came back from behind against the Jets. Come on. Detroit.
I'm done.
New England at Miami. Miami a 7-point home favorite. I'm going Miami here.
Yeah. Well, these are the two only franchises to have undefeated regular seasons.
It's true. Neither one of them will get that this year.
No. Go Miami.
All right. Tampa Bay at the Giants. Giants are 5.5-point underdogs.
This is a rematch of the 2008 wild card round.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
It was the one that started the run to beat the Patriots the first time.
Sure, right.
I'm taking Tampa Bay.
I went Tampa Bay as well, but I'm not going to lie. There was a small part of me like, Giants could get this done. Could. I don't see it happening.
But it's nice that the Yankees are letting the Rays play at their stadium. Speaking of these two cities.
It's true. We'll get to more on that. Weirdly, we'll get to more baseball stadium talking in our college football segment, weirdly enough. So
Wrigley Field? Oh, Bronx this year.
Yeah. I love how you're just like, oh, yeah. Kansas City at Carolina. We kind of already mentioned this one. This is their biggest spread of the weekend at 11 points. The Panthers underdogs.
Just learned Kansas City had a college basketball team this week.
You did. You did.
I'm going to take Kansas City football.
Do you know what the Kansas City UMKC, their mascot, their nickname?
Royals.
Close. The Roos.
Roos? What's that roo?
It's a kangaroo.
Oh, a roo.
Yeah, Roo.
A roo you.
Anyway, Chiefs. All right, last of the early window, Tennessee at Houston. Houston 8-point favorites at home.
We're going to agree again.
Yeah, I mean,
Texans.
well, okay. I don't know why my brain's like, he said Houston, he said Tennessee. Yeah, Houston here. Yeah. All right, 3 games in the late window, 4 o'clock. Tennessee. Denver at the Raiders. The Raiders are 5.5-point underdogs.
Denver.
Yeah.
I might parlay this.
There's just not a lot here this week. I'm sorry, guys. Here's where things kind of actually do get interesting, though, to be fair. San Fran at Green Bay. Green Bay 2.5-point favorites.
San Fran.
I went Green Bay.
Why, Paul?
San Fran, I'm calling them the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. I still think Seattle's a good football team. You can't take them lightly. Something's happened to them in the past month and a half that they just aren't the same.
Seattle.
Correct.
That's very disrespectful.
Let me finish. San Fran, who sat here and said they're going to make the Super Bowl in the NFC. They didn't even go make the playoff.
Playoffs?
Now, look, I get it. They've dealt with injury, but, like, that team's always dealt with injury in this window. McCaffrey looks visually slower. I don't know what's going on, but, like, well, I do know what's going on. Purdy's regressed back to the mean, right? And Kyle Shanahan's Kyle Shanahan, as I call it. So I'm going to go Green Bay. It's at home. Now, if this was at San Fran, I probably would be picking San Fran, if I'm being honest. But just the Packers, a bit more of a cohesive unit.
We getting a cold game? We haven't had a snow game yet.
I don't know if we'll get a game, if that type of game. Arizona at Seattle. Seattle's a 1-point favorite.
Now, this is a toss-up.
Is it?
Sounds like you're against Seattle.
I'm going Arizona.
I'm going Seattle.
Okay.
Got to get some games here. I feel like at Seattle, I can.
It's always ours. I don't get it. Why it's always.
It's at the same time every time. I think it's like 2:53.
I literally, you can see so people don't know. You want to know? Hold on. I can kind of pull it up quick on the studio shot here. This notification comes up about a software update, and I literally have the notifications, as you see, Nick, on silent, and yet it still pops up. I don't get it.
At that time, every time. Okay, I'm gonna go Seattle.
So you went Seattle. I went Arizona. Sunday night football. Philly at the Rams. The Rams are 3-point underdogs at home.
I think we're getting a Nick Sirianni blow-up game.
Okay.
Going Rams, and I think Nick Sirianni's going to do something terrible, make a big mistake.
Well, Nick, normally I'd agree with you, which is why I'm taking the Rams.
Yay!
And then Monday Night Football this week, Baltimore at the Chargers. So back-to-back home games at SoFi.
This is only the third time the Hardbogs have met. First time since the Super Bowl.
The Chargers are 3-point home underdogs.
Lamar Jackson, Baltimore.
Give me the Chargers.
Go Chargers.
You know how I feel about Baltimore in big game situations.
It's true.
Can't trust them.
This game ain't that big.
It's Monday night. Prime time.
It's true.
It's big enough. Big enough. All right, college football.
Speaking of the Big Ten.
Yeah, interesting week. I want to start with the SEC again because they are the straw that stirs the drink at this point. Tennessee gets pretty much boat raced by Georgia. And now we have more calamity in the standings because not only does that happen, but BYU gets upset. So that rocks the boat there.
And Boise State jumped them.
And, well, I was going to kind of table that. But, yes, Boise State now jumps. And then you mentioned the Big Ten, where Oregon got put on upset alert for about the whole ass game.
So did Ohio State.
I
was watching earlier. Northwestern was hanging with them a little bit.
Ohio State won like 38-7.
It was close for a little bit there. First quarter.
First, like, minute. Anyway.
I think it was 7.
You know what I mean. Anyway. Now we have some calamity with the standings again. You have Kirby Smart complaining again. These coaches, they know what the plan, they know what this system is. Why, especially Kirby Smart, why are you complaining? You're an SEC coach. Like, it kills me. And then, furthermore, LSU, Brian Kelly, which I'm sure you loved seeing that result Saturday. Brian Kelly getting absolutely outclassed by Billy Napier in Florida. I mean,
Florida's on TV again this week. So it was,
well, Florida's playing Ole Miss, that's why.
so Ohio State did win 31-7, but Northwestern was up 7-0 until 6:59 to go before halftime.
Apologies.
So kind of.
Whatever.
I was watching that game before I left work. I remember watching it. Anyway. Oh, I thought you were saying something.
Well, I didn't know how you, because you were very jazzed when I said Brian Kelly got outclassed by Florida, and you go, yes, I was happy.
Yes. LSU's a fraud. You call San Francisco Niners a fraud. LSU's a fraud.
What can we do for a name for that? Like, because San Francisco, LS, I got nothing.
Frauds.
Okay.
We're just gonna call them frauds, because that's what they
Frauds with a
are.
with an EAUX somewhere in there.
I mean, this is year 3 of Brian Kelly, and he's not even close to Ed Orgeron. What they've done,
Go Tigers.
uh, you know, sure it's a tough conference, especially now, but you're LSU. You're supposed to win the thing. So, and they're not even close to the playoffs. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. Even though I would love to see a LSU Notre Dame playoff game, that'd be pretty cool. But we'll take Alabama coming into South Bend. That'd be pretty cool too. I love how no one talks about Notre Dame on that show. By the way,
Yeah,
it's just in.
It's funny. The whole entire discussion's funny because, like, did you see what Joey Galloway said?
Going at Booger.
No. Well, yes, but I wasn't talking about that. But he said that Indiana should sit their quarterback this week against Ohio State to avoid a Florida State situation. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like,
What? Yeah, he's really losing it down there. He's going at Booger, and because Booger was trying to defend Indiana, how they're undefeated, they've beaten the teams in front of them, and he goes right with the question: are they better than Georgia and Alabama? Sure. We all know the SEC is more talented, but that's not
I don't
how.
know about that.
That's not how it works. It's the format, and you all wanted to play in that conference for your money. You can't give everything. The Big Ten has their league, which is very overrated, but Indiana's undefeated. They deserve to be higher than Alabama right now. And it's a big game this weekend. I'm rooting for them. For Notre Dame, I probably want to root for Ohio State to win so we can jump them and get a little higher. I don't know if we would jump Ohio State if they lose.
Yeah, I remember. It's not like Notre Dame has an easy game this week by any means. We'll get to that, though.
I think the harder game's next week. Rivalry, USC at USC. I think that's the one I'm... Army, they're like our little brothers. It's like Navy's little brother.
I'm
I don't care that Army's been better.
So you're saying that you don't support the troops?
No.
It sounds like you're actively rooting against the Army.
Only the Air Force I root for, Paul Skeens.
So you are anti-troop. Folks, Nick Felice is anti-American.
But their Army is Navy's little brother, and they're our little brothers. So, no, we're not losing to Army in Yankee Stadium this week. Also, it should be at Shea Field, Shea Stadium,
Which is a parking lot now.
Yeah, but no, I'm not nervous about Army. We'll take the rank win though. We won't argue about it. It'll be our 4th ranked win of the season. So
You crazy.
I think we could get up to the 6th seed.
Okay, that's good.
I actually watched the ranking show yesterday. I've usually been
Okay, so how did you feel about it? Because I didn't watch yesterday. I couldn't. I
don't like how they show the rankings and then show the seeds.
This was the first one without Herb Street.
Oh, really?
He stepped away from the show. He didn't like the direction it's kind of going and stuff like that. How did you feel about it? Because when I watched last week, which was the first, obviously, technical one of the year, ESPN, who obviously more or less runs the show for it, obviously, in this sense, I feel like they make it more confusing than it is, and then they wonder why people are confused. And it's like,
it's not supposed to be that confusing.
but it's also not that deep. Like, your top 4 seeds are your conference winners / depending upon how things shake out, your, G5 could be the 4. Everybody else falls in at that point. Highest independent can be 5th, and everything shakes out. I don't think it's that difficult to understand, yet they do it in such a way that does make it confusing, I think, for a common viewer. I think you kind of fit that bill more than I do, obviously, but, like, it's just, like, it's stupid to me that, like, that's the rankings, that's the seeding, and move on. I will say this, it's similar to nature, and I wish people understood this. It's similar to how, like, college basketball works, in a sense. Like, the seeds don't necessarily reflect the actual rankings of the teams. But, like, that's just so inherently known and explicitly said that, like, nobody questions it. So I just think they need to do a better job probably being
Like, I get it.
clarifying and stuff
I
like
understand
that.
the whole thing. Just to show it, just go with the seeds.
Yeah.
Like, show the 1 seed, show the 2 seed,
Right.
show the 3, show the 4,
And then you can show the ranking after.
and then show the other conference champ,
Yeah.
and then you show the rankings after.
Mm-hmm.
But just get the seats. You're saying, like, they start off with BYU is 14th or Boise State's 13th, but really they're 4.
Yeah.
You're confusing people. They go out and they don't even mention they're 4th until after they're done showing the ranking. They say they're 13th. No, they're 4 because that's what the seed they are. And it's just a little confusing how they do it.
Yeah.
But it's not that confusing. One thing people forget about, they always think like the 5th conference champions just automatically be the 12th seed. That's not the case. They can go up to the 11,
Correct.
the 10.
Yep.
It's just how they're ranked right now. They don't have to be the 12.
All right, that's why I said like technically the G5 can be the 4. Like it's just like
Technically, if the 5,
Yeah.
if the top 5 is all different conferences, that's your top 5.
yeah. Yeah, it's just to me it's not that difficult, but they're making it more difficult.
Are we happy with the rankings right now?
I mean, for now still, yeah. I mean, I think the people who are in there are the ones who should be in there. Like I laugh. You brought it up. I laugh at the Indiana discourse. Like they're playing who they're playing. They can't control whatever.
So how does it?
And to me, it's funny because they're playing the same schedule essentially Ohio State's played.
How are they,
Like
hell are they in the Big Ten and get 100th ranked of strength of schedule? How is that even possible?
yeah, I
It's Ohio
just
State, they're probably like top 10.
I just laugh at people. I laugh at the strength of schedule thing because that's how they're trying to go with the SEC. And like, I'm sorry, like Georgia's playing freaking Morgan State this weekend, or like, I just like I don't know. It's stupid.
You gotta win your games.
Yeah.
It's like Alabama. You didn't beat Vanderbilt. You want a case. But we beat this team.
My thing is 2 lost teams I don't have a problem with. Inherently, that's going to happen in this playoff system that 2 lost teams.
Are
in.
you
I have a problem with the 3 lost teams when there are probably clearly better 2 lost teams that should be in.
I'm a head-to-head guy. People like to go off resumes, but if that team beat that team, they should not be behind. They should not be ahead of them.
I think it's tough because I think it depends a little. There's got to be a little bit of leniency though with that because like I don't want to go back to this, right? But like it's very apparent now looking at the way everything's kind of shook out that Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois was just a flat out fluke in that sense, right? I know it's not the right example, but like if it came down to push comes to shove type thing, like Notre Dame should be in over them, right? And that's, where I think there's got to be a little bit of leeway, in my mind anyway.
Yeah. The 14th
yeah.
playoff. We would Georgia and Alabama be way out right now.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's
We talk about 3 Big Ten teams right now. Potentially
crazy.
4
yeah.
if Texas faded.
Yeah. Which is possible still technically. Kentucky could do the funniest thing this weekend.
Let's hear the picks.
Yeah, I went 3-2 last week. Now 27-35. You went 2-3. Now 39-20. Yeah, let's get into it. First game, number 5 Indiana, number 2 Ohio State. Noon on Saturday. Ohio State laying 13.5 at home.
I hate Brutus. I hate the Ohio State, but give me them.
Yeah, for you picking heads up, you made the right pick. I'm taking Indiana with the points.
Nice.
So, Signetti's bunch, I got faith. They had Ohio State centers out, by the way, for the rest of the year, so keep an eye on that. UConn at Syracuse. Syracuse 10.5 point favorites in the Dome.
Dan Orlovsky versus Donovan McNabb. Give me the Qs, man.
Same. Roll orange, baby. We're feeling good. All right. Now, this one's an interesting one. Sam Houston at Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State -6. This is big. This sets up either team going to the CUSA conference title game.
Jacksonville State.
I win JSU as well. You know who the head coach is of Jacksonville State?
No.
Really? Rich Rodriguez.
Really?
Yep.
The old
Keep a. That's a name to keep an eye on for this coaching cycle.
he's the old who?
Michigan.
Michigan. That's what I was gonna say. Michigan.
Number 14 BYU at number 21 Arizona State. Arizona State 3-point favorites at home.
Arizona State's decent.
Yep.
Very underrated.
Yep.
Beat Kansas State last week.
Yep.
But I think BYU bounces back.
I agree. I think it's going to be that might be the most fun game of the weekend. In all honesty, is that game. But I think BYU bounces back as well.
What? Most fun? You're not a fan of Notre Dame Army? You hate the troops?
Can I please get to my final game that we are picking? Number 19 Army versus number 6 Notre Dame. Game at Yankee Stadium. Notre Dame 14.5-point favorites.
Notre Dame the home team?
They are classified as the home team.
Nice. In Yankee Stadium.
You know, it's much closer to West Point.
We got the bleacher creatures there.
Yo!
Notre Dame, come on. What's the line?
14.5.
Ooh,
I'm taking Army
okay.
because of the points. Yo! Riley!
Gonna be a good one.
Riley Leonard.
I gotta.
Yeah, let's do a little NBA before we get out of here. Finally, everybody's been beaten in the NBA.
Yeah.
Cavaliers lost to the Celtics last night in the NBA Cup.
Emirates NBA Cup. Get the sponsor out.
Whatever. They don't sponsor us. I don't talk about. You surprised that it finally came to an end? They got to 15-0, only the 4th team in history to be able to get to that mark. Kenny Atkinson, the coach there, it's the same really crew that they had last year, just with a new coaching staff. And them boys are good.
Don't forget their new associate head coach, Johnny Bryant, as well. Who was the associate head coach for the Knicks last year.
Okay.
He's
The more you know.
he's the bigger reason. But
Whatever gets you to sleep.
no, it's a good run. But they're running out the same team as last year. I don't know how much better they're gonna get. I mean, coach does help. Different style. Good start. It may be interesting to see if they fade a little bit here. You know, drop like 6 of 8 or 4 of 8, something like that.
They lose 15 straight.
Yeah, imagine that. But no, Celtics are still top of the league right now. So that was a good NBA Cup game. A big fan of the NBA Cup?
Well, I wanted to ask about this. I personally do enjoy it, and I know why some of the stuff they're doing is for whatever, but my eyes would really greatly appreciate it if we stopped doing some of these courts the way that they are.
They hurt my eyes.
The Celtic court, I don't know what the hell was going on, but like, no.
Pretty green.
No. No.
Watch.
I mean, there's a few of them. Like the Spurs court last night was like, at least it was gray, so it's not like hurting you. But like, I'm just like looking, I'm like, this ain't it. And I thought they were kind of gaudy last year, but man, dude, some of them this year are worse in my mind. I don't know, but at least.
Even this color scheme of the NBA
Yeah.
Cup Final Four last year was bad.
Yeah.
That weird blue.
With the red accents and
NBA Cup's cool. Knicks looking to make back-to-back quarterfinals. Got a good shot. 2-0 to start. We got 5 more NBA Cup pool games to go.
Do they play this Friday?
No. I think they're off this whole week.
2 early ones last week.
Yep. They had 2 games to start the week. It's 4 weeks of it. No, looking forward to it. Got a tough group. Not really. Probably the easiest group. You know,
Ooh.
with Orlando and without Paolo.
And Wendell.
Charlotte, Brooklyn, and Philly.
Yeah. Yo, Philly.
Good start.
Wow. You see the report that Maxey called out Embiid?
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, man, like,
Not good there.
I can't imagine. I feel bad for Nick Nurse because I actually do think he's a good coach, but like, if he knew what that was going to go into this year, I don't know if he would have taken that job. I don't.
It's a mess there.
It's bad, really bad.
And it's only going to get worse. And eventually you got to start thinking, we got to start winning some games. You don't just get a playoff spot. You don't get a play-in spot. You got to start winning some games. Right now they're the worst team.
Mm.
That's bad. Wizards are bad.
Yeah, the Wizards in Detroit are better than that.
Detroit's actually having a decent year for their standards. Eastern Conference a little down right now to start, but Sixers are really bad.
Yeah.
Bucks have come on a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Cavs have been undefeated for most of the year. And the Knicks are starting to play better.
Be fun to see.
The Heat, nice win against the Sixers though the other night.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, Joel.
That was kind of the catalyst, I think, of those comments.
Joel Embiid is a big problem, but I think the biggest thing from the NBA so far has been the injuries.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mentioned Paolo. He's out. You might be surprised by this. Kawhi Leonard's out.
I know, I'm stunned.
Just Jimmy got hurt for a little bit there.
Embiid might as well be out.
Yeah, Maxi's out.
Chris Middleton's still out.
Durant's out. Bradley Beal's out. There's a surprise, but a lot of injuries so far.
Yeah.
My guy Emmanuel Quickly, how's he doing?
No update yet. I don't know. If it was baseball, he'd be getting Tommy John. I know that. So.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, that does it though for Fresh Takes for today. So, appreciate everybody for listening, watching. Nick, who are you shouting out?
Yeah, let's go to the big finish. Not so happy anniversary.
Hold on. No errors today. We go to the big finish. Nick, who are you shouting out today?
I'm shouting out my sister Samantha.
Do.
Shout out my sister Samantha, going to see her at Raleigh this weekend with my brother. Shout out Mike Harnett.
I was about to say, is Matt really Matt's going for a wedding?
Yes, and I'm going with him. But my sister lives there, so shout out Mike Harnett, I guess. So double shout out.
Multiple shout outs again.
Yeah. Shout out Matt, triple shout out.
Whoa! Shout out to the airlines.
Yes. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads.
Well, same time next week. Well, no, it probably won't be same time next week. No, that's actually we're gonna try
Canada.
We're gonna try and get out. Get this done earlier next week because of the Thanksgiving Eve holiday that Nick observes. So we're on a let's see here. That's 72.5, 96.
Come on, don't you want to be a big brother? You gotta know this math.
We're on somewhere between 110 to 134 hour and a half break.
Paper toss.
I know I can't do a paper toss. Those are the picks. I needed to get those in to my computer. So appreciate everybody for listening and tuning in and all that fun stuff. We'll talk again next Wednesday.
Just combine around the horn PTI.